How to play No Man's Sky next. How to overcome the death of your player. You've got a number of ways, basically two ways in which you die in this game. Either your character will die on a planet, or you'll be in your spaceship and you'll get killed. You'll get killed that way via your spaceship crashes. And depending on how, if you're outside your spaceship and you die, you lose all the contents that you're carrying on your person. If your spaceship goes down, then you lose all your contents of your ship. Plus, it probably will damage your ship to one degree or another. And so, what I don't show in this video is that I had found a new ship, but it needed a lot of repair. And prior to playing this game, I actually had found an additional ship prior to this one that I was fixing up, and I left that base only to come back to it and find that ship, somebody had stolen it. I mean, it was virtually gone. I don't know if it was a penalty in the game because I had died, or if some entity, maybe whoever abandoned the ship originally, came back to it. And that's just another facet of this game that makes things that much more complex. So when I found this second ship that's coming up that I'll show you here shortly, I decided not to fix it, but I decided to keep it and build a base where it was located in the event that my ship goes down or whatever, or some planning, futuristic to when I am able to own more ships and dock them at a space station out in space. And so I kept the ship, and being that I died while in my ship took damage and went down. I decided rather than rebuilding everything and going back with the original ship, that I would just go ahead and fix this other ship, because I would gain additional slots. I think I'm gaining an additional 6 slots as opposed to reusing my original ship. Plus, this ship is worth more. So it's a lot of strategy to it. I mean, you got to really think as to what you're going to do to overcome certain problems. You can see I've got a warp terminal. Currently, that warp terminal doesn't work. I'm still figuring out how the warp system works to where you can teleport through the teleportal thing. But anyways, I'm basically going through here. You'll be doing a lot of regathering materials, if you die or if your ship takes damage and you crash land. It's a constant need for gathering materials at this stage of the game. I'm hoping that once I get a space station and get additional ships, there'll be less of that, and the play will transpire into something new, because this gets rather old. In my opinion, it gets rather old having to regather materials to make things and so on. Okay, so in this clip I'm gathering materials to repair this newer ship, and while I got this ship at no cost, the cost is involved in fixing all the bad things because this is an enemy ship that had taken damage and crash landed, and so it's like a freebie, but there's a lot of work involved in going through and fixing all the stuff that's wrong with the ship. And a lot of the materials, part of what goes into fixing a ship is knowing where to get the materials that you need to fix it. So you'll spend a lot of time, if you happen to find a ship that's no cost, meaning, there's no unit cost, as in money cost within the game system. You'll see here coming up, that there's a lot of repairing that you must do in order to get the full functionality of the ship. But the advantage to this ship is, number one, I've got 6 additional slots, plus I've also got a hyperdrive, which will allow me to, once I get it fixed and get the fuel for it, I'll be able to go to a different star system which will enable me to potentially get to a better space station with a better economy, so on and so forth. And so I'm going through and showing how much different items I need. And I know where a lot of these materials are because at this point in the game, I've probably played somewhere around 40 to 50 hours. So I know where a lot of these materials are. And there's, certain planets that you got to go to. And so basically, what I'm doing is I'm fixing my shields and everything because I have a threat looming. Okay, so from this screen you can see that my shields are down. I'm actually capable to take off in the ship as of this point. I have enough fuel in order to. I just don't have fuel for the hyperdrive, but I don't need that in low Earth orbit anyway, or low Earth travel. Um, so my shields are down. So the last thing I want to do is take off because if some enemy ship comes in and I don't have any way to protect the ship, then that ship's going to crash again, and then there's going to be even that much more damage. Plus, I'm going to lose all my stuff, and so that's the part of the strategy to this game that you always have to consider. And so here I'm going back out. I'm going to the refinery. Basically, this is a machine that you build that requires various parts in order to build it, and then it requires carbon in order to run it. And you dump particles in this to convert them into other usable materials that you need to build things. And so you'll be spending a lot of time doing that and gathering materials. That's probably, at this stage of the game, that's probably about 99% of what you're going to be doing. And then maybe 5% here and there of, exploration and other things. But if you're in repair mode, you're really best suited to concentrate on repairing whatever it is you're repairing and getting that done, so then you can move on to bigger and better things. So that's really the time-consuming aspect of this game. So by this time, I've gathered a lot of materials, but unfortunately, I wound up dying again because I actually took on a Sentinel because they have a material called pugnium that I need to repair certain parts of the ship, and I wish I had footage of it. I tried to take the footage of it, but for whatever reason, it didn't save it. There's like a 2-minute window that I have when I record currently, and so for whatever reason I didn't get that material. It just gave me the death screen and that was it. It didn't show the actual firefight that I had with the Sentinels, because once you kill the initial Sentinels, then they send higher entry Sentinel forces that are like land-based, and they are just horrendously hard to beat at this stage of the game. And so I wound up dying, and so everything on my player basically starting all over again, but at least the ship didn't take any damage, and so I'm still in the midst of repairing the ship. And here I find something. I noticed this unpinned formula thing down here. I've been having trouble finding antimatter. Obviously, I could probably Google it and find a bit easier way, but I'd rather learn this stuff for myself and see if there's something that someone else missed. And so now it's telling me to follow a signal as opposed to trying to craft it, because I've tried to craft antimatter and I haven't been able to do it. And so I don't know if this is a secret. We'll find out. Stay tuned. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Brought to you by Mental Vacation in association with Ray TV.